Hello everyone and welcome to this latest video. I'm Kirk and this is Cherries Transfer Talk January 21 edition. And what we'll do in this video is have a look at Bournemouth's current transfer activity and maybe see if JT will do anything else before the window closes. To help me in this video, I have two AFC Bournemouth guests. First guest is Steve Hensman. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. Evening.
Evening. And my second guest is YouTube Dan Juron.
How you doing?
Brilliant.
Hey, Dan.
Excellent.
Right,
How are you all doing since the last game? We all right?
Yeah, I've just about recovered.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think I'm just about calmed down. Took a while.
Okay.
I think Keith's still swearing somewhere, though.
So, at the start of this January in the transfer window, JT was quite clear in the media that he wasn't going to be doing much activity. Now, on Monday, just gone, Jack Wilshere signed. Was that a surprise, Dan?
Yes and no. I think that with him training, we were definitely the front runners for his next club. But I think it's a really, really good signing for us. I think both on and off the pitch is going to be useful. Having someone that clearly wants to play football, wherever that is, and that's, at one point in his career, he was a world-class England player, and that quality doesn't just go. He's still got that Premier League quality about him. And even for the brief period where he came on at the end, you could see the quality. And, you remember him in our best season, and it's going to be massive for us. But yeah, no, I don't think it was a massive shock, but really good to see.
And how did you feel about it when the news came through, Steve?
Yeah, I loved it, mate. I think with you, I've been sort of hampering for this one for a long time. Like Dan just said, going back to our best season we had was with Jack in the team, and it's no surprise that really. I always remember a game at Swansea Way, 3-0 we won it, and he was instrumental that day. It was on New Year's Eve, I believe, and we were playing like the Arsenal of old, passing the ball around, and he was at the centre of it all. Scored a wonderful goal, and yeah, he's going to be a decent addition, no doubt.
I always kept the faith. I've been pulling for this one for quite a few months. I think the deal had to be done between the player and the club, and both parties had to agree what sort of deal that was, but I'm glad we got it over the line, and I'm sure he's going to add something to our team in our promotion push. So that's one player in. Now let's look at potential players that might go out. Now, Dan, a player that's been coming up in the last few transfer windows to maybe exit is Josh King. What's your thoughts on Josh King and potentially leaving the club?
Yeah, it's. I think everyone kind of expects him to leave, whether it's this transfer window or when his contract runs down. I can't see him being a Bournemouth player next season. I can say that pretty confidently. But I like Josh King in the fact that he did the opposite of Ryan Fraser. When he wanted to move, he showed clubs why he should get the move. He tried. He cares about this club a lot, and even when he wanted to leave and claimed it was the worst month of his life or whatever, during the season, pre-season, and but he's tried. He's given. He works hard in every game that he plays, whether or not he has the best performance or not. And you remember when he comes on how quality he is. But yeah, especially in January, West Ham, I thought it was almost a guarantee after they sold Haller to Ajax that he was going to go. Everton would be a good addition. I don't know if I can start with Everton though, so I don't know if that would interest him. And West Brom. I'm not too sure about that. I think West Ham are probably the front runners for that. But I don't know if he's going to go this transfer window. It's hard to say, but it would be a massive loss because he's still got that quality to offer us, and I think he'd be a massive addition for the rest of the season if we can keep him.
And Steve, after having a potential transfer to Man United on the last day of the previous January transfer window, are these clubs big enough for him now?
I think the likes of Everton, West Ham are. West Ham they need a striker desperately. They've only got Antonio left now, like Dan just touched on. Yeah, but it was an interesting one I read today that Burnley were now in the hunt for him as well. Don't know if I think he suits Burnley, but it's a different dimension. I didn't think who was the pacey little winger from Tottenham would suit them, but he did a job there.
Aaron Lennon.
That was it. Yeah, he went there, and he didn't think it was his sort of football, but he fitted in all right. So maybe it would work for Josh. This one I'm not really fussed either way if we lose him or he stays with us, because I think, like Dan said, he's going to go by the end of the season anyway.
Okay then. In one word, yes or no, is Josh King still a Bournemouth player come the end of the transfer window? Dan?
Yes, I think he will be.
Steve?
I'm going to go no on this one.
Ooh. I think he will be a Bournemouth player come the end of this transfer window. I can see both sides. I think it's very 50-50. But I think the club know that they've had their money's worth out of Josh King. And if they can keep him in the squad as we try and aim to go back to the Premier League, I think they'll probably keep him. So the next player that always comes up in transfer windows as well, and I'm not sure whether his form is affected by it, I'll come to you again, Dan, is David Brooks.
Yeah, it's been a hard few games for David Brooks, to say the least. I feel like it's ever since he got that Player of the Month that it sort of declined massively, his performances, and it's even more frustrating because you know how quality he is, and when he can't make simple passes, and whether that's the interest in Aston Villa affecting him, or another factor that we don't know about. But it's crucial that we keep him, because even though he's having a different form, it's he's such an important player to this football club, because when he is at his best, he is one of the best players in the league. So Aston Villa, it's going to be hard to ignore that speculation, though, especially how well Aston Villa are doing at the moment. He'll know he'll be playing at a high level in the Premier League. So I think that it might be a combination of the interest and another factor that we're not aware of. It'll be interesting to see how he performs for the rest of January if he does play in the next couple of games.
Contract until 2022, I believe, Steve. Does he go to Aston Villa this month?
I can't see it myself. I think Brooks, he is, as Dan said, he's off his game a little bit. And who would want him currently? There's potential there, but he's not making it an easy sell at the moment, is he? I personally think that he's... No, I don't. Yeah, I just don't think he's going to go. I just think Bournemouth will want to keep him. We need him for a push for the promotion, and I just don't see him getting anywhere with Villa. It doesn't seem like a team that we would go straight into.
Okay, then Dan. David Brooks, is he a Bournemouth player come the end of the...
I can't see him leaving. I think he's going to stay.
I'm only joking. Yes, he remains a Bournemouth player. Steve?
No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say yes on this one. I'm going to say no. He's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Other way around.
Sorry, are we doing it?
Yeah, sorry. He's going to remain a Bournemouth player. He will stay. Yes is all round, I think. I think he remains a Bournemouth player. I hope he can find his form. And let's move on to the next player then. This is a bit weird, Dan. Fee agreed last week with Cardiff City, Jack Simpson. It's taken a while to get over the line. It might make more sense now because Rangers appear to be in for Jack Simpson as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, actually, because, he's playing a few games on the trot and then all of a sudden just sold him to Cardiff, or at least accepted a bid. It took me a bit off guard. It's obviously the new information about Rangers coming in is quite interesting. And, if we are going to get just under £1 million for him, and you've got Carter Vickers, who apparently Spurs want to sell for £1 million, is that a £250,000 buy to replace him with Carter Vickers? In my opinion, that's a good deal if that happens. Because Jack Simpson, I don't dislike him, and I don't think he's a terrible player, but he wasn't quite good enough, I don't think, to ever really break through into the first squad consistently. Interesting to see what happens there.
Jack Simpson, 6 months left on his contract, Steve. Is there too much competition in the centre-back role at Bournemouth?
Yeah, I think when everyone's fit, he doesn't get a look in, unfortunately, which is a shame because he has played well when he's been asked of late.
And it did come as a bit of a left field thing, didn't it, with the Cardiff sale agreed and all that. But like Dan said, if it's a means to an end to get a replacement like Carter Vickers, and we can afford Carter Vickers because we sell Jack Simpson, it's a no-brainer for me, because I've got questions about Jack in the Premier League, if that's where we're trying to aim for. If we want to keep, if we don't, the only way it work, if we didn't go up, then he might be worth keeping. But I didn't know about that Rangers thing, actually, coincidentally. Is that something that came out today?
Literally about 2 hours ago.
Right.
So, yeah. And Simpson's a bit of a weird one for me, because I think he has struggled at times, but he has surprised me a bit this season. And we kept 5 clean sheets in a row, I think it was, and he was part of that. But I think if you've got all your centre backs fit, I don't think Simpson gets in the 2 or the 3. So, do we think Simpson will still be a Bournemouth player come the end of the transfer window, Dan?
No, I don't think he will be. I think that accepting that bid just goes to show that we're willing to sell him. And now with interest from Rangers as well, I think it's inevitable. I'd be surprised if he did today.
Does he remain a Bournemouth player, Steve?
No, I'm going to go with Dan on now. Now I know about this Rangers interest as well. I think there's obviously something's been flagged, and other clubs are picking up on it. So we seem like we want to sell him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'll be a no, and maybe that's what's halting the deal at Cardiff, is the Rangers' interest. So another one which potentially is left field, and I thought this a few weeks ago when he was dropped for the Oldham game, or didn't make the 20 players, 19 players. And Stephen Gerrard's made 2 phone calls today, first for Simpson, and now he's in for Nnamdi as well, Dan.
Yeah, really surprising there. I saw the interest from Charlton and Rangers, and it's really, I'll be really disappointed if he does go, because I was really excited for him when he came back, and he looked really, really good in that cup game against City, and I thought that he could do a job either at centre back, CDM, or even at full back. I think he played in one of the games, and he looked like a really good, promising young talent that wanted to play football and had a desire to play football. And I think that it would be an interesting decision, or potentially beneficial decision, if for some of the players that, even though people might say, oh yeah, they're Premier League quality, or they're some of our better players that aren't performing as well, bring in one of the youngsters, see how they perform, see if they've got a bit more desire, a bit more hunger. A lot of them are going to be quicker, I'd be gutted if he did leave.
Steve, he's got 6 months left on his contract as well. Now, I get when Josh King has 6 months, because he's at a different part of his career. Is it worrying that we've got a player like Nnamdi that's been able to run down a contract to 6 months?
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a strange one, isn't it? With all this this Twitter stuff the other week, and I didn't know about this Rangers interest, and I would be sorry to see him go if he did go, because I think he's a very good player there. I've seen him play a couple of times for the under-21s, and he's looked at very, very good talent. I've seen him play cup matches as well, and he's always done a decent job, in my opinion. He's got a really good engine on him. And I just don't know. I thought we'd see a lot more of the youngsters this season than we have seen. I think it'd be a shame that if he went, but looks like it's on the cards.
There is a point to add to this. With regards to the Rangers' interest, it looks like they want them on a free. That's both for him and Simpson. So as I ask you, do you think he'll remain a Bournemouth player by the end of this window, Dan? Take that into consideration. Is he a Bournemouth player?
See, my heart wants to say he is going to be, but I have a really bad feeling he's not. And with him not getting any game time recently, and I can't see him being a Bournemouth player, but I really want him. My heart says he will still be, but I just can't see it.
Steve?
Yeah, I think for all intents and purposes, unfortunately, he's going to be going, because not only is it Charlton and Rangers, there's talk of other clubs in for him as well. Even some interest abroad, I heard. But shame, real shame. We haven't seen more of Nnamdi.
I'm worried that he's not going to be here as well. Big fan of Nnamdi. Was really looking forward to seeing him against Oldham. Then he didn't start, and that worried me a bit. So let's see what happens with that one. But I fear he won't be a player come the end of the transfer window. And one more player then, Dan. Not that there's really been interest in this player in the media, but again, social media is playing a little bit of a part here. Should we be worried about Philip Billing?
Yeah, it's a weird one. It did annoy me a little bit. I think that if there is division in this squad, and that is contributing to the performances, putting things on social media like that just doesn't help in any way. I think that apparently JT has spoken to him, and I do hope that he gets some stern words from him, because it just doesn't benefit anyone. Those little comments, little jabs. Like if he wants to play for the club, put in the effort. You know, I'm not saying that he's been poor this season, because he's putting some really good performances. But I think with Billing, it's a bit like he either turns up and he's the best player on the pitch, or he just has an absolute shocker. But yeah, it's a weird one. I'd really like him to keep there, you know, be involved in this team and stay at the club. But if he is going to be a negative and have a negative effect on the club off the field and even on the field, it's hard to say. It's a bit of a weird one.
Although he does have a contract till 2024, I'm not sure if there would be clubs queuing at the door, and you'd think that Bournemouth would want some sort of fee to repay what they did in the Premier League, and all the social media as well. Steve, what's your thoughts on Phil Billing?
Yeah, I mean, like Dan said, I mean, it's all really strange, isn't it? This Twitter stuff or Instagram stuff, whatever happened in training, because you'd have thought if he had gone off to see the doctor, you know, they would have reported back to Jason. Everyone would have known what was happening. Just seems a little bit weird. And like you said, I can't see many teams wanting to pick him up unless it's his agent in the background making noises and trying to, you know, tell him to stir the pot. Who knows? But I think he's a decent squad player to have moving forward. So I can't see him going anywhere personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll remain a Bournemouth player. I'll go in first. I think he'll be here come the transfer window when it closes. The long contract as well. It is just worrying, like Dan says, when you got a game that's 30 minutes away, and then one of our players who's not in the squad or in the lineup is posting. Not saying he's trying to upset anyone, but it's just not necessary, really. And you think that there'd be better communication within the club, but I'm sure they've sorted it all out now. I did see images today on the training ground that they're all smiling, so hopefully that is a good sign. Right, at this stage, we'll have a bit of fun, and we're not sure if JT is going to dip into the transfer window and buy any more players. But if he was, should we try and attempt and actually have a look at what he might go in for or what positions we might need? So looking at the pitch there, Dan, if JT was to go into the transfer window, I mean, what positions would you be looking for him to improve or give us better quality in?
It's difficult because it's with everyone in this team. It's the same when we went up to the Premier League from the Championship. You don't want to say anyone's going to be replaced, like when Tommy Elphick left. You don't really want him to be replaced because you have that connection with the players. But I think I was talking to my dad earlier about Kenwyne Jones. Remember when we had him, and he gave us a plan B almost. A physical player that bullied defenders, and we just haven't really had that. You know, Dom. You know, he's meant to be a bit of physical presence, but he hasn't really turned out that way. So I feel like, weirdly enough, a striker, maybe a physical striker, would be beneficial, because at the moment it feels like if plan A is not working, we just try a little bit harder with plan A. And if that doesn't work, we just play the ball around, slow play. You know, we don't really have another plan or another way to score against these teams. That if they do score first, like Derby did, you know, they're just going to sit back and defend the whole game. And we need players that are going to bully the centre backs in a different way of scoring. So I think that maybe a physical striker, I'm not sure who, but I think that could benefit us.
Would you agree with that, Steve? And is there any other position that we potentially might want to look at?
Yeah, I agree with Dan on that one. I think we do need another striker. Well, I just think we need a bit more depth there. Dom's taken a lot of that responsibility this season, hasn't he? And if it's not happening for him, like Dan said, we don't really have another option. Sam doesn't seem to be getting the game time he probably a few of us expected he would get. I quite is it the Welsh international, the one I think he's a
Not talking about Sam Vokes, are you?
No. The other he's at another championship club. Can't think.
Is
of
it
his name
Cardiff City? Is it Kiefer Moore?
Yes, Kiefer Moore. Yeah, he's the sort of player I think you mean, sort of Dan. He's a big target man, big strong lad. Yeah, I think that would be a good option to have on the bench, or using some games rather than others. As other positions, I think it'd be good for Brooksy to have some have a bit of competition on the right wing. Not that I think Brooks should be out there personally, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of options. Nobody pushing him, and maybe that's why his performances have dropped a little bit. Thoughts?
What's your thoughts on that, Dan? That right wing, and also while you're thinking about that, Sam, Daniel Sturridge is still on a free transfer and has been without a club for several months now. Would that be something that Bournemouth might look at?
I can't see it happening, but never say never. I don't think wouldn't be maybe a Bournemouth signing, but I think I agree about what Steve's saying now. I think that having some competition there, it's why the teams like City dominate the league, is because players aren't guaranteed a space apart from maybe De Bruyne, Ederson. You're not guaranteed a space in that Man City team. You've got competition everywhere. I think that's why Pep's managed Phil Foden really well, because he's not guaranteed a space, and when he has come in, he's fighting for his place. He's playing with desire, with hunger to stay in that team. And I feel like Brooks has lost that a bit, whether that's the January transfer window or not having competition maybe. So yeah, maybe some. I saw someone right at the beginning of January. I think it was from the Turkish league. There was this quite young winger, English lad. I can't remember his name, but he seemed to be doing all right. So maybe that would be an option. That might just be paper talk, but I agree with Steve there. I think that having some competition there wouldn't be a bad thing.
And I'm going to throw one in the hat as well, because this is a contentious sort of subject, and a lot of people and a lot of fans are split on whether we should go for another left back. Thoughts, Steve?
Personally, I wouldn't. I think we've got enough cover there. If you take Zamora into put him in the equation as well, it is evident that Rico and Kelly aren't hitting the straps like we thought they would this season. But I think they're both full of more potential than they're showing. I think they're just in a little bit of a dip for whatever reason. Something's not clicking with them, both of them. But we've still got Zamora's backup, so I wouldn't bother trying to fill that spot.
Dan?
Yeah, I think that Zamora, I'd love to see him playing more. It does frustrate me a little bit that not Smith as an individual. I think that he works really hard every game, and that's all I can ask for as a fan. But playing him on the wrong side, not having to always cut inside to make a cross, is a problem. And if Rico's not playing well, he seems to have dips in form. And I think Zamora has earned himself the right to say, why am I not playing in a league game? He was one of the best players on the pitch in that cup game, and he looks exciting. He looks quick, both defensively and attacking. And I'd really like to see him play in the cup and maybe even our next league game. So yeah, I don't think I wouldn't say a left back. We need to bring one in. I think we have enough quality in our own team in Zamora.
Steve, are you generally happy with this window? Is Jack Wilshere been enough for you?
I'm more than happy, to be fair. But I would like to see another striker. I would like to get excited about another player. I quite like the young lad at Man City, Liam Delap.
I think his name is Liam Delap.
Even if we got him on a loan or something for the rest of the season, or obviously Sturridge would be a bit of a coup like the Wiltshire one. But again, it is a lot of variables on that. Whether his fitness is good, I don't know. He's been out of the game for a while. Just something a little bit more excitement wouldn't go amiss, obviously. But I'm happy with Jack. Over the moon.
Dan, do you think this transfer window is played a part in our recent dip in form, or is it just a coincidence?
I think you've got to put the links together. I think you can't. It's that you can't ignore the fact that so many players have just have had a sudden dip in form, and our worst run of games is in January, when probably agents are in players' ears going, "There's more money here. There's a better opportunity here." You know, what have you? And yeah, that's frustrating. And it'd be interesting to see if we do pick up some more points and start to get into a bit of a run after the January transfer window. Because I think if we do lose to Reading, if we don't beat Reading, actually, we'll make it more positive. I think if we beat Reading, then we do still have a chance of automatics. But I think we've got to beat Reading to have that kind of chance, and we've got to go on a consistent run of at least like 5 or 6 wins. And I think, you know, this transfer windows, I think it's met most Bournemouth fans' expectations. We knew going into it we weren't going to make any crazy transfers. I think having Wilshere there is massive. You know, having a player that's so experienced will be able to help some of the young lads and have so much quality. But yeah, I would, if we could bring in one more player, I would like to see a tall, physical striker to give us a plan B when we're playing against these other physical teams.
Excellent. Really interesting to see. About 10 or so days away, I think it is, when it closes. I tell you what would be a good idea if you both are up for it. Why don't we come back when the transfer window closes and see where we're at and mop it up and see what actually did happen, if you're happy with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
Steve, thanks for joining me. And Steve's Twitter details are in the description below. See you soon.
See you later, mate. Thank you. Cheers, Dan.
Cheers, Steve.
Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. And again, Dan's details are below in the description, his YouTube and his Twitter. Really interesting stuff, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Kirk.
Right, guys, let us know what you think. Are you excited about Jack Wilshere? Will Josh King go? Are we worried about players like David Brooks? Let us know what you think. Maybe let us know what players are available and who we could potentially bring in. It's going to be a tough 10 days. Hopefully we can get through this and pick up some points. And then hopefully when the dust is settled, we can then hit some form and head towards, hopefully, back to the Premier League. Please like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Thanks for all the support. We'll see you in the next video. Up the cherries.